Today on Deep Dive, we're going to be looking at Marvel Comics Marvel Superheroes number 15. Can Medusa help Black Bolt find his voice? Let's flip some pages and find out. Hello everyone, my name is Devin, also known as DH Artist, and welcome back to my Deep Dive series. Now traditionally, most of my videos contain a simple 32-page comic with one or two complete stories. Well, today will be a slight departure from that tradition. Not only does today's issue contain one complete story, but it also features 4 reprinted stories that came from earlier comic series. Today's deep dive was inspired by a suggestion I received from one of my longtime subscribers, Anthony. I hadn't read this issue until I made this video, and I found it really enjoyable. So thank you, Anthony. And remember everyone, if there's a particular issue or comic you'd like me to flip, drop it down in the comments section and I'll see if I can add it to my pull box. Just keep in mind, it may take some time to add it into the rotation. With each book you can expect their conditions to vary. Today's issue is in nice condition. While there's just a smudge or scuff on the front cover, it doesn't affect the story or the artwork. Now even though this can be viewed on your phone or computer, try casting it onto your TV so you can really see the detail and quality of the book. If you enjoy these types of videos and want to see more content like it, check out some of my other deep dives. I've covered issues like Amazing Spider-Man number 101, Hawkman number 2, Avengers number 8, and Tales of Suspense number 56, featuring an exciting showdown between Iron Man and the Uncanny Unicorn. For a complete list of my videos, visit the organized playlists on my channel, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single video. Marvel Superheroes number 15 was published in July of 1968. Editor-in-chief was Stan Lee. Cover artists were Gene Colan, Frank Giacoia, Stan Goldberg, and Sam Rosen. There are 5 stories in this book, with 4 of them being reprints from earlier comic series. Our first story, titled Let the Silence Shatter, made its premiere in this book, and it was written by Archie Goodwin, penciled by Gene Colan, inked by Vince Coletta, colored by Stan Goldberg, and lettered by Irving Watanabe. The second story, titled The Siege of Camelot, first appeared in Black Knight number 2, and it was written by Stan Lee, penciled and inked by Joe Manley, and colored by Stan Goldberg. The third story, titled The Dawn of the Submariner, first appeared in Submariner Comics number 35, and it was written, penciled, inked, and lettered by Bill Everett. Our fourth story, titled Origin of the Black Marvel, first appeared in Mystic Comics number 5, and it was penciled and inked by Gabriele. Our fifth and final story, titled Captain America Turns Traitor, first appeared in Young Men number 26, and it was written by Don Rico and penciled and inked by John Romita. The book consists of 68 pages with a cover price of 25 cents. Our first story, Let the Silence Shatter, begins as the Inhuman, known as Black Bolt, smashes his machine in frustration. Hearing the commotion, his wife Medusa rushes in to comfort him, out of fear that he might speak or shout, unleashing his destructive power. Having spent weeks on his latest invention so that he could harness and control his voice, the machine doesn't work. So when he motions to be left alone, she obeys his wishes, and departing his laboratory, she heads out in search for a way to help him. Meanwhile, somewhere in Europe, we find the Trapster and Sandman helping the wizard, as he converts his ID machine into a ray gun. The wizard's video scanner picks up Medusa as she arrives in Paris. Realizing that he needs more power to finish his ray gun, the wizard makes plans to ask for Medusa's help. Following her movements, he looks for a way to lure her to their location. Now in the past, the Trapster, Sandman, Wizard, and Medusa all worked together, originally forming the supervillain team, the Frightful Four. While they first appeared in Fantastic Four number 36, Medusa was suffering from amnesia, and the Trapster was known as Pastepot Pete. As Medusa walks the streets of Paris, a man is about to be struck by a speeding car, and using her hair of steel, she saves him from the accident. But when the crowd of onlookers mistake her as a monster, she whips them back with her flexible strands. Watching from his video scanner, the wizard sees Medusa in the grasp of the angry mob. Quickly activating his long-distance anti-gravity machine, it locks onto Medusa's location, and like an invisible hand reaching down from the heavens, she's carried into the air to safety. Traveling over the streets of Paris, Medusa lands miles beyond the city limits, and after setting down outside an abandoned chateau, she cautiously enters. As she searches the chateau, dragging her hair across the floor, she senses the power of electrical equipment. Drawing closer, she suspects it to be a trap, already concluding it to be the work of the wizard. Entering their hideout, Medusa is ready for their defenses, easily tossing Sandman and the wizard aside with her hair. But before she can deal with the Trapster, he blasts her hair with paste. Using the break-in fighting to his advantage, the wizard pleads for a truce, claiming that he can help her and Black Bolt. When she remains skeptical, he draws her attention to the equipment mounted above her. Activating a switch behind him, Medusa is knocked over by a powerful sound wave. The wizard explains that by using his Ultra Amplifier, he can focus it on anyone, and he's translating her thoughts into sound waves. The wizard then offers to modify his machine so that it can reverse Black Bolt's powers, but only if Medusa agrees to rejoin their team. Thinking back, Medusa remembers an example of Black Bolt's powers from Fantastic Four number 59. At the Great Refuge of the Inhumans, the negative zone barrier blocked its people from the outside world, so after silently ordering his people to the shelters deep below the city, Black Bolt let out a tremendous scream. The force of the scream was so powerful it shattered the negative zone barrier, but it also decimated the Inhumans' refuge. With the memory fading from view, Medusa reluctantly agrees to help the wizard. He then explains that they'll need to steal quadranium from a nearby NATO base. Secretly, the wizard reveals to Sandman that this is all a trick, and he intends on using the material to power his ray gun. Then, quickly, the Frightful Four board their anti-gravity ship, departing for the nearby NATO base. Arriving at the NATO base, the villains get to work taking care of the guards. Before the guards can sound the alarm, the Trapster disables it with his glue. Then the Sandman clears a path through the locked doors. However, when they come to the bottom of the vault, the only one who can scale it is Medusa herself. Slowly and cautiously she begins to climb up, and using her strands of hair like a minesweeper, she guides herself a path through the death-laden walls, until safely lowering herself on top of the vault. Carefully using her hair to disable the vault's thermite charge, Medusa retrieves the quadranium. Quickly rejoining the others, Medusa and the trio of villains escape to the anti-gravity ship, but once airborne, Medusa learns of the wizard's treachery. Finding out that he doesn't intend to help her, the wizard orders her to hand over the quadranium. Acting quickly, Medusa uses her living locks to fight back the trio of villains, and to add to the chaos, she grabs the ship's controls, causing it to fly wildly. With the villains disoriented, Medusa grabs the quadranium and opens the hatch door. Then, with a powerful throw, she sends it into the heavens, where it'll be carried out into space. Then, just as Trapster tries to blast her with his paste, she flings the hatch shut, causing the paste to seal the door with the villains trapped inside. As their ship flies out of control towards the open sea, Medusa plummets towards the center of the city. Reaching out with her great locks of hair, she tries to grab hold of the Eiffel Tower, when flying out of the heavens is none other than Black Bolt, who, while monitoring the local news broadcasts, learned of what she had done. And so, after catching her in the air, they glide to a waiting aircraft, ready to return them home. Before we continue, if you're enjoying today's video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. Our second story, The Siege of Camelot, finds the Black Knight, also known as Sir Percy, watching from the battlements of the castle, as King Arthur and his men depart for the countryside. In his absence, Arthur left Sir Mordred in charge of the kingdom, and the Black Knight vows to protect Camelot from Mordred's secret ambitions of ruling England. Then, almost immediately, Mordred sends one of his loyal minions to inform Sir Robert de Quincey of the Normans to attack the castle. Mordred explains that once the Normans have conquered Camelot, they'll seize Arthur when he returns. Then de Quincey will place him on the throne. Both him and de Quincey shall share the wealth of tithes and taxes, until the time comes when he will plot de Quincey's downfall, leaving England to him. In almost no time at all, the Norman army descends on the castle, and pretending to defend it, Sir Mordred gathers the remaining soldiers to fight. Pretending to be faint, Sir Percy retires to his room. Then, watching as Mordred deliberately leads his men into a trap, he changes into the Black Knight to interfere with Mordred's plans. A short time later, just as Sir Mordred prepares to surrender, the Black Knight rides to the front line, and rallying the soldiers around him, they slowly make their way back to the safety of the castle. Upon reaching the drawbridge, the soldiers quickly cross it, leaving the Black Knight and Sir Mordred the last to cross. While no one is looking, angered by the Black Knight's interference, Mordred strikes a blow to the Black Knight's head, causing him to fall from his horse. Sir Mordred then orders the drawbridge raised, telling the others that the Black Knight has been killed. As the bridge lifts upward, the Black Knight falls into the castle moat, where the shock of chilled water revives him. Then, quickly using a reed as a makeshift snorkel, he evades the search from knights loyal to Mordred, looking to finish the job. With the coast clear, the Black Knight climbs the north wall, where he stumbles onto Mordred, who's about to lower the drawbridge to let the Normans in. Moments later, a call cries out that King Arthur has returned, and he's attacking the Normans from the rear. Then, after knocking Mordred out, the Black Knight rallies the soldiers to attack the Normans from the front. With the battle quick and decisive, the Normans retreat from the land. That night, with King Arthur back upon the throne, he thanks Sir Mordred for defending the castle. But watching nearby is Sir Percy, and while he has no proof to expose Sir Mordred, he'll continue to watch him closely. Our third story, The Dawn of the Submariner, features a childhood adventure with Namor. One day, Namor's mother Fen sent him out to play. Meeting up with his stepbrother Byra, they start to play Atlanteans versus Americans. And proud of his half-American heritage, Namor wants to play an American. Tired of Namor always playing an American, the boys force him to be an Atlantean, and after building a boat out of ice, the boys begin playing. Diving under the water, Namor is struck in the head by an ice bomb thrown by Byra. Angered by this, Namor swims up and capsizes their boat. But when Byra and the others splash into the water, the ice closes, trapping Namor on the surface. Since Atlanteans can stay out of the water for only a short period of time, Namor begins to search for another opening in the ice. Some time passes, and Namor becomes hungry and tired, so after stealing some fish from a penguin, he decides to sleep among a group of seals. Meanwhile, back below the surface, Byra tells Fen what happened. Fearing her son is suffocated, Fen and Atlantean warriors drill through the ice to the surface. They soon find Namor alive and well, only to make the discovery that since Namor is half American, he's able to breathe on the surface indefinitely. Our fourth story, Origin of the Black Marvel, begins as a group of gangsters meet outside a power station, and after taking out one of the electricians, they hold up the rest of the workers at gunpoint. When one of the workers tries to be a hero and fights back, the criminals quickly take him out. Threatening to do the same to anyone else who gets out of line, the gangsters get to work destroying the generator. With the generator destroyed, the city's power grid fails, sending cars crashing into one another and causing trains to derail. It's a citywide panic. Before the gangsters can escape, the Black Marvel arrives on the scene, and after quickly roughing them up, he learns that they cut the power so they could attack the armory. But who is the Black Marvel? Let's now dive into his origin story. A long time ago, the Blackfeet Indian tribe's chief was close to death. Demanding that his successor pass a series of tests, he orders his shaman to oversee the process. But when the top 3 contestants fail the 5 tests of speed, stamina, and accuracy, worry begins to set in about finding a worthy successor. Just when all hope seems lost, an outsider named Dan Lyons comes to the camp to pay his respects to the chief. Some years ago, the chief was responsible for saving his father's life, and after hearing of the contest to find a successor, Dan offers himself for the tests. Receiving the chief's permission, the series of tests begin, and starting with speed, Dan easily outruns a deer. For the second test, Dan is blindfolded, and after hitting 4 bullseyes with a bow and arrow, he successfully passes. The next 2 tests come just as easily to Dan, as he outswims the fastest salmon in the river and easily catches arrows from the tribe's best marksmen. Yes, Dan had progressed further than anyone else, but the hardest test was yet to come. In the final test to prove his strength and courage, Dan must fight a ferocious bear, and though the great beast is powerful, Dan is able to defeat it. Having passed all challenges, Dan is given the mantle of black, and upon receiving a costume, he becomes the Black Marvel. Then, with the chief's last dying breath, Dan is told the duties of the Black Marvel, and so begins his fight against crime and injustice. Returning to the present, the Marvel arrives at the armory, only to find more gangsters robbing it. Launching a surprise attack, the Marvel beats up the goons, and as he tries to get one of the crooks to squeal, he's shot before he can tell the Marvel what he knows. Rounding up the rest of the thugs, the police arrive and take them into custody, and a short time later, the lights in the city are restored. With victory in hand, the Black Marvel has his first notch on his bow. Some of the interesting advertising found within this issue is a full-page ad for Joe Weider's weight gain formula. There's a house ad for the comic magazine The Spectacular Spider-Man. In the Shop by Mail section, you can be instantly taller with lifty shoe lifts, and you can learn to play guitar in 7 days. And on the back, there's a full-page ad for 132 Roman soldiers for only $1.98. Just a friendly reminder, if you're enjoying today's video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks. Our final story, Captain America Turns Traitor, begins as Dr. Standish, a communist agent, watches newsreel footage of the Star-Spangled Duo, Captain America and Bucky. And as he watches the footage, he begins making plans to finish our heroes. The next morning, Dr. Standish calls a press conference inviting the world's heroes to attend a seminar on the dangers of communism. Soon the Human Torch, Submariner, Captain America, and Bucky answer the call. Arriving at the seminar, Dr. Standish explains to our heroes that he only has a need for one lecturer at a time. Then, asking Cap and Bucky to stay, he tells the others to leave. Taking our heroes on a tour of the facility, Dr. Standish distracts them with some lab equipment. While Bucky isn't looking, Dr. Standish injects Cap with a special formula to embrace communism. Then moving ahead with the lecture, the formula seemingly works, and Bucky is shocked to find Cap suddenly embracing communism and supporting Russia. With everything going according to plan, Dr. Standish asks Cap to attack a US base for the people of Russia. Quickly agreeing, Captain America boards a plane bound for Alaska, but when Bucky tries to intervene, Cap pushes him aside. Flying over the base, Captain America jumps to the ground. He then fights through the soldiers and destroys the installation in a massive explosion. With his mission complete, Captain America and Bucky travel by boat to a Russian sub waiting off the coast. Once there, Captain America reveals that he's been faking his love for communism the whole time, and with a 1-2 punch, Bucky and him knock out Dr. Standish and his Russian handler. Moving quickly, Cap and Bucky deal out swift justice to the Russian troops, and after removing the oxygen supply and sabotaging their sub so it can't resurface after diving, our heroes swim safely to shore. With the Russian plot foiled, Captain America and Bucky make their way back to base. I hope you enjoyed this epic deep dive. If there's a particular issue or comic you'd like me to flip, drop it down in the comments section and I'll see if I can add it to my pull box. If you enjoy these types of videos, please show your support by subscribing to my channel. As always, please consider liking and feel free to share this video. And until next time, deep divers, thanks for watching.